Good evening. Welcome to the After Hours Show. My name is Joe Umami. I'm joined by Ann Lee, a retired college professor and community member at the Daily Kos. She's a member of the National Council of Independent Scholars and is a contributor to the book, The Political Economy of Art, Making the Nation of Culture. Evening, Ann.
Hey there, Joe.
Forgive me. İyi akşamlar. In Turkish. We're coming live from Antalya now. I'm with Kitchen, finally. And after nearly
Turkish
2-week
vegetables.
hiatus.
Those look like heirloom tomatoes.
They typically have a weekly market in various neighborhoods. So I went to the live or the what do you call it? The open air market, fresh vegetables, greens, cheeses. I've never seen so much yogurt and dairy products in my life. It's amazing how much is consumed here, truly by the metric ton. Special things like this. How would you call it? It's like tomato puree, but with spicy chili peppers or paprika. So it's a little mildly fermented paste. So what I thought I'd do is make a few meze, Turkish meze, little side dishes, appetizers. One very popular one, ezme, is just the simple tomato salsa, basically. It's a very finely chopped tomato salsa with a little bit of this chili paste, garlic, and parsley and olive oil. I've got the aubergine here, or eggplant as they say in the States, with some peppers, the cursed cilantro, and onion, and lemon, and garlic again. I'll be making another side dish, which I've forgotten the name of. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to learn Turkish, and I've got only a limited amount of capacity for my memory. I've got the only Turkish dish that I know I'll be making by name is the imam fainted, which is essentially the same dish tonight, except I'm going to, instead of roasted eggplant slice or braised eggplant sliced in half, I'm going to cut it up and do some experimenting very outside my wheelhouse with the famed air fryer that everybody's been raving about. So I finally have access to one of these contraptions.
That's a good looking one.
I just found the manual, so we'll have to wing it. I didn't read any of it yet. Still dealing with time differences here, so I need prioritize my nap first. But it seems like you use this silicone container liner basically. Put it in here, possibly with a rack. We're not going to be making kebabs, but maybe use that. Maybe just use that. If there's any air fryers in the house, please speak up now. So what I was going to do was air fry the aubergine instead of roasting it in the oven, which is essentially what this is, right? The miniature oven. We'll figure it out.
Fun.
Last dish I thought I would make. Haven't had fresh mango in a long time,
That's a
and
big one.
these are beauties, and they're so lovely now. So I thought I'd just make experiment with diced mango tossed with a little bit of this chili paste. Really nice
Yum.
combination with mango,
Yum.
salt, and chili. Popular in many countries. So that's what I had going on my end. I think there might have been a few things going on this week that you might want to bring us up to date on.
Oh, too many things in the world, over 500 some odd people have been killed so far in Lebanon.
Mhm.
The whole Lebanon situation is very problematic. Apparently, they tried to decapitate, as it were, the Hezbollah leadership during Netanyahu's speech to the UN General Assembly. Essentially, they launched a massive airstrike in Beirut. It took out two buildings, I think. A pretty serious thing. And they've been working very hard at trying to kill off the Hezbollah leadership. I'm not sure that they've done it or whatever, but it is certainly interesting to see them try. The Israelis try to do that. Needless to say, it's unclear whether there are going to be demonstrations or whatever. I assume people are going to demonstrate against this because it's just awful. And the only reason why they're having this war is to keep Netanyahu in power. And more people are dying. It's just the thing. And they showed another more of these stupid things from Gaza. There's some guys were just trying to load up a little car somewhere in Gaza, and laughing Israelis drone bombing the darn vehicle, just killing about 4 people. It's just a sad, very sad things to watch on the internet. So that's what's going on there. No big targets have been taken out. There the usual airstrikes. Things have they're not. It's not a lull. The battles are going on every day. Kursk is still going back and forth. There's a little area being sort of probed out in the south in the Donetsk area. There have been multiple airstrikes into Kyiv and a variety of other things. So most of it has been diplomatic since the UN is in New York. And Zelensky met with Trump today, and it was a very uncomfortable little, not a presser, but they made some statement afterwards. And, clearly Zelensky didn't want to be there, but he had to make an overture because Trump might actually win. We all hope that won't happen, but needless to say, Trump just acted like an idiot. It's like, oh, well, we can get this over really quickly. It's just like Trump is like talking like it's a deal, and he has no clue about, the people dying or whatever. It was just interesting in that particular context. There was a joint meeting between Harris and Zelensky yesterday, and that was quite good. They were, everyone was sort of okay, respectful, etc. Although during this past week, the Speaker of the House, Johnson, decided that he would object to Zelensky going to an ammunition factory in Scranton, Pennsylvania. It's just he just decided that he wanted the Ukrainian ambassador kicked out of the country because Zelensky went to, a Scranton to a 155 millimeter artillery shell production facility. Um, he did what he
But
normally.
that was for an autograph signing.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was just
But
signing shells and just thanking this little ammo facility in Scranton for thanking them for supporting Ukraine. And pretty much everyone was behind it. I think it's a union facility as well. So there all kinds of things were at work there, but it was pretty clear that the Republicans weren't very happy with that. So that's one thing. All
now, I'm not quite familiar with everybody involved. Was Biden in that
Biden
as
wasn't
well?
there. I mean, I'm not sure who was at the thing. Zelensky was definitely there, signing autographs and signing artillery shells. Um, that was pretty much it. But it was a PR thing.
Hmm.
Uh,
That is
needless to say.
pretty awful to be signing bombs, basically, though. Some
Oh yeah,
U.S.
yeah, yeah.
official. Just
Absolutely, absolutely. And Trump said, Trump has on multiple occasions criticized Zelensky as being or praising him, false praise with the greatest salesman in the world because every time he comes to America, he comes back with billions of dollars, which is true. And he got more, this trip too, as well. Um, the point being, of course, that more materiel is going to the Ukrainians.
oh,
For
sorry to bother you.
oh, sure,
I
go ahead.
know this is just counterintuitive. I I broke the law with the air fryer. I'm dousing it in some oil.
Uh-oh.
Maybe a little too much. I hope I don't get arrested and knock at the door here. I don't
Well,
have
it
the
doesn't
spray
explode.
canister.
Be
that
careful. Be careful. I mean, the whole point of air frying is not to have anything catch on fire.
Apologies for the interruption. Correct.
Um, I'm a big fan of that. That's a nice knife. That's a very nice
Yeah,
knife.
this I was desperate. I arrived here, and let's just say if I would have continued very much longer in the kitchen, I might have had been missing a few digits. So I had to find the quick, cheap knife, and I couldn't find any but these ones stamped out of sheet metal, which are garbage. So
Yes.
this was the only forged one I get, and
Beautiful.
They use this for cutting burekas,
Mhm.
which are the sort of phyllo pastry uh, that are wrapped in rolls and are filled with either potato, uh, salty cheese, meat, spinach, and cheese and whatnot. And you can get them in spirals, and they're uh, they're usually warm. So you ask for what you want. They'll pull out a piece and then cut them up into
Yep.
small bite-sized pieces for you. And
It's just
the only thing it was a good
designed.
affordable knife, solid. Um, the only thing I forgot to notice was that there is no flat area on it. It's all rocking action.
Yes.
Pretty cool though. I don't know the technical name for the knife. I'll chase that down for next week.
Alrighty. Let's see what else. As usual, the UN disrupted all of New York, and all kinds of the usual peripheral things are going on. Trump went from his little meeting with Zelensky this morning to Michigan, where he's talking in a few minutes. He's going to do another one of his little he always goes to the same places. He's in Macomb County, Michigan, and he's going to do another little of his things on pretending that he's a friend of labor, which he isn't. So he's going to do that. And Harris was in Arizona today, visiting the border for quote unquote the first time, whatever the hell that means. So, it's just simply a little meme that the Republicans are using. And uh, so it's a busy day from a campaign point of view. The claim was, and I think it's the USA poll says that Trump is ahead of Harris in Arizona. So but as usual, these are all, in fact, it's a small sample. It's really not a very good poll when you look at kind of the construction of it. But anyway, but it is a USA Today poll. Anyway, those are the things that are going on. In other matters, I mean, I had planned either to do the entire history, the entire week's history in Ukraine, but there are other things to rant about, I suppose. Technically, Harris is ahead everywhere, pretty much, but it depends on what you're looking at in terms of local polling, and of course, local polls are not worth that much. The national polling has Harris ahead by 3 to 4%, which is in the margin of error kind of territory. So, but that's not going to count for very much relative to the Electoral College. So all of these things are going on at the same time. The latest thing for J.D. Vance is apparently someone has dug up a whole bunch of his other little writings or yammerings, and it caused Ken Klipperstein to be kicked off of X, alias Twitter, simply because Elon Musk is trying to do the best he can for Trump and Vance. So that was interesting. Apparently, Vance, a little while back, 4 years ago, I think, was commenting on that there's some correlation, and it was very bizarre to me, some correlation between diminished birth rates and car seats for children. And it made absolutely no sense, but he seemed to believe that this was an actual thing. And so all I'm going to say is that October 1st is the debate between Walz and Vance is going to be much fun. It's going to be a bloodbath, I would assert. There will be yelling. It'll be amusing, hella amusing, as they say.
Dude's obsessed with birth numbers.
Well, it has to do with a kind of, I mean, it follows a certain degree of Catholicism, but it's a very conservative version of Catholicism, and there are a variety of evangelical right-wing religious groups that he's clearly allied with, and it'll be interesting to see whether any of that
extreme Catholicism plus the white replacement theory or something.
Oh, right. Yeah, yes, absolutely. It has all of the usual theocratic versions of Christianity, bizarre Protestantism, or very conservative Catholicism. And noting, of course, that in the Trump administration, there were numerous people who are actually members of the sort of right wing of the Catholic Church, Opus Dei, et cetera. And so that's all very interesting. And we'll see some of that, I think, in the debate on October 1st. So that will be a interesting time next week, since it's coming up fairly quickly. Otherwise, we it was sort of a fun week from a political point of view. The current issues in America, and particularly in mainstream media, is this Helene, the hurricane or tropical storm or whatever it is, and 30 people I think are dead so far. It came in at a very strange spot that had never gotten a storm before on the Gulf side of Florida. So, but it's driving up through the southeast. And needless to say, there's flooding and a variety of other things. So that's going on presently, the usual emergency stuff. And I think everything is going on as it should. Nothing controversial. It's just that a lot of folks are, houses are being damaged and some people are casualties are occurring. So that's happening. Other things in this country are of the usual sort, just strange activities that usually occur in American cities. Um, I think we've seen a few crazy things by certain Republicans. Clay Higgins, who's a legislator who was controversial. I mean, he lost his job, I think, at the local level and ran for the House, and of course got it because he's just a nutball. But he decided that he would insult Haitians for a whole variety of racist kind of things, and pretty much censurable, at least. For the Democrats thought that he should be censured, and he just doubled down on it. He just, I fully believe that, he's just falling on the lies that created by Vance and Trump about eating pets and blah blah blah. It just they're trying to do whatever they can in terms of trying to improve their election chances, but I don't think it's going to happen. They seem to keep screwing stuff up. Although tonight, Trump is appearing in a very safe place. It's probably statistically the safest place for a Republican in Michigan, Macomb County, because he keeps going back there. He goes there a couple of times every election cycle. I mean, it has, a Republican, a local government and a Republican representative, and it's not really a huge population area, but it is in kind of an interesting sort of suburban area outside of Detroit or north of Detroit, I guess. So that's where he is. He's
they're eating the
going to say all
cats.
the
They're
same.
eating the dogs, I hear.
Oh,
Is that
indeed,
true?
indeed, that's exactly what the. He's going to say all the same. All he's doing, he lies all the time. It's just, it's just amazing to me. And I think the Democrats are just letting him, sort of sink himself. This week, Trump has said pretty much everyone who supports Kamala Harris must have their heads examined. So this week, I wrote a thing on it. Every person who's a senior should have their head examined if they're not for Trump. Similarly, he said the same things for Jews and for Catholics. So kind of that's his thing this week, that you need your head examined. So Trump is being Trump in that particular context. Let's see. It's just continuously. Oh, yes, he ranted hysterically that women are poor and depressed, but that Trump will fix everything. Everything will be better if people will just forget about abortion. That he'll make things better for women. Women will be just these vague things, promises. I think he promised. He's promising all kinds of stuff. Having. Dividing the costs of home in half, a bunch of other strange promises that are impossible to keep. And so that's kind of what's going on this week. Every promise of doing a press conference usually begins, he did one today. He started at about 10 minutes in. It was supposed to be about economics or some other thing, and then he just verged off into all kinds of strange talk. So pretty much that's the standard pattern now, is that he'll start doing something according to a script, he'll get bored, and then he'll start rambling on about all kinds of strange stuff. And even Fox News cut away the other evening because what was he talking about? It was, furniture. He's talking about furniture, that that furniture will come back with Trump. Trump will make furniture, more affordable in the United States. And he's talking about how good furniture was in the 1950s and 60s. And because he was in North Carolina, he was in the furniture producing section of Western North Carolina. And so I suppose he just felt he had to say something, but he just, and Fox News was so bored that they cut away from that. So that was sort of interesting.
Has something happened to Ethan Allen that I wasn't aware of in all this time away?
I don't know. I think that it's just like it's no different. RFK was at his the thing he's going to speak at tonight, and he's trying to convince Michiganders that they should ignore the fact that RFK Jr. is on the ballot and that they should vote for Trump. So that's the kind of thing. J.D. Vance is campaigning with a preacher who claims that Harris is the devil's choice. So it's kind of gone there. We're at a pretty tough point at about 40 days until the election. But as I was commenting earlier about big words, Fox News objects to the use of the word holistic by Harris. She talks about holistic things, and holistic things are, well, they mean all kinds of things. I mean, in a philosophical sense, holism is a technical category, but holistic is to talk about what she talks about: pragmatic things, holistic things. It's very California speak, just because I'm a Californian, and we kind of talk that way. But they're big words, and Fox is mad that Harris is using big words. So these are not horribly big words. Holism is not that, to think of things as a kind of totality or collective thing is it shouldn't be that weird.
Oh, I thought that might appeal to a certain segment of the MAGA crowd, the anti-vax that comes from originally the liberal left. Whoa, look at that. 6 minutes in the air fryer. They're almost finished. So it looks like it just needs about another round and we're cool.
Absolutely. Nice.
What?
Did it dry it too much out? Or, I mean, was it?
Well, I had it on the roasted one, so I could broil it. I'm not sure which would do more browning. I think broil would burn it more, but yeah. Or I don't know, maybe I could try air fry this time.
So that the left is a Fahrenheit measure? That
180? This is 180 C.
180 Celsius. All right.
So air frying, it goes to a lower temperature, and roasting was higher. So
interesting.
I'll put it down to 6 minutes just to be safe. And I'm cooking on gas again for the first time in a decade.
Ah, nice.
So the thing, this is kind of a self-defeating recipe. Not that we can't do it, but using the air fryer and making this dish, which is notable for its quote unquote obscene amounts of olive oil. More efficient cooking with the air fryer, and then we'll douse it in olive oil, uncooked olive oil afterward. Yeah. Notable that you use a lot of olive oil in this dish. This is part of the Turkish cuisine that are similar to in Greece. They call them olive oil dishes, olive oil based dishes.
Aha. Those are good looking tomatoes. Those are tomatoes, right?
Yes. Not quite sure the name of them or this one. There was about 8 different tomatoes I saw in the market.
They just don't look like those nice sterile American.
They have, well, even up in Norway, we get most of our tomatoes come from Spain, and
Ah,
they're very much uh, taken off the vine quite early. But here we have actually sun ripened ones. You can taste the difference. So it's tremendous.
oh, look at that! Look at that! Anna was sharing that reminded me that Trump, in his little comments in North Carolina, was claiming that chairs break after 2 months, and then you get sued because people fell out of a chair in a hotel or something. Yeah, he was commenting in that particular thing about chairs because Trump hotels, you have to buy stuff in bulk, and so you have to get a lot of furniture and stuff. So apparently, he may have been referring to somebody being injured on their their furniture or something. Um, that was just very, very strange for him to start yammering about that stuff. But he goes off script so often that and he's making a lot of mistakes. And yes, he thought that he was in Louisiana, but he thought he was in Georgia. That was the other night. That was sort of interesting. I mean, it's quite possible to forget where you are, considering how the schedules operate. But that was happening as well. Um, there could be a massive October surprise in the Trump election interference case. There's a 180-page document that Jack Smith is providing, and I had thought this was going to happen anyway, regardless. But it seems, from a timing point of view, we're probably going to have a couple of revelations. If I was going to guess, and I'm just guessing, it will be that certain parties, particularly in the DC case, that certain parties are much more engaged in the insurrection, in the demonstration and the planning and stuff, which goes to Trump's involvement. Um, I'm going to assume that they've managed to. I don't think they gave Mark Meadows immunity. Maybe they gave him partial immunity or something. But and we won't know until the trial actually rolls out. But I think that we're going to see that there's going to be a lot more interconnections, because that has never been addressed. It wasn't addressed by the January 6th committee. And I think that this court case will bring up all the interconnections between Proud Boys, uh, Roger Stone, a bunch of other, you'll see a lot more interconnections that have been discussed in writing by a variety of folks, but to actually see it in court, I think that could be the October surprise. People are expecting some sort of October surprise before the election. It's hard to believe that Trump could come up with something, and I think that from on the Democrat side, from a legal point of view, I think this is where it's going to come from. So that's the current state of that. Otherwise, nothing is going to happen from a legal point of view. There was some comment that the appellate court in New York is questioning whether 475 million, which is much more with the penalties, et cetera, but the penalty for Trump, screwing with his tax burden or whatever, by altering valuations and such. I don't know. Maybe it is that there are more Republicans, perhaps, in the New York appellate court. So that's another thing going on. Let's see. As I've said, the war continues. So ordnance is flying back and forth, and there has been overturning of a variety of folks who have lost their jobs in a variety of governments. So there was sort of a slight overturn. A um, a Russian officer committed suicide because of the lack of I think this is in the Kursk defense. I can't remember. There some bad things are occurring. The there is the conscription continues. It's not as huge as one would expect, but there's a couple of those stories being activated. The Ukrainians did cut part of the rail network when they went into Kursk. So, and there was a story that they had subverted all of or they had figured out how to get into the train control network so that they could mess with the entire, or at least the sectoral, uh, Russian railway system. So that could have other implications. I mean, it's not clear what that was, but there are various rail hubs that the Ukrainians are sort of attacking, and we don't get a lot of news about that, but there is some degree of that occurring. The latest news on when the F-16, the Ukrainian F-16 got shot down, it has a lot of disinformation about it, uh, whether there was equipment failure or something else, but apparently he had been knocking things, various drones and missiles down. He took down 4 of them until I think debris from one of these drones that he hit. They're using air-to-air missiles because it's cheaper that way, and apparently blew up. But the debris went into the intake or something and took out the plane, and unfortunately the pilot died. And so they've already lost 1 F-16. On the other hand, today was the last day for Dutch F-16s. I think there won't be any more Dutch F-16s. They're all going to Ukraine, 24 of them. So there's that. There's that. There are other issues relative to the ghost oil tankers. They're trying to deal with those. There's a Russian fertilizer ship that is being dragged around, that is leaking apparently, and has a certain explosive risk. I would assert that it's not fully explosive, and they could transfer a lot of this stuff off it, and not in a port. You see, if you put it in a port, it could blow up or something. So that's kind of, and it's been wandering around and is being towed, I think. So that's kind of part of that story. And it's not a big story in the sense that it's not as I think it'll be a big story if it blows up, but it's less clear about it blowing up. Let's see, where are we now? We talked about car seats. We talked about JD Vance. There is some suggestion that the Saudis are going to mess with Trump and Kushner, but that it is unclear whether that's really going to happen. I think that's a kind of death certificate, death statistics. The claim is at the current moment 70,000 deaths, Russian deaths. That is more people than died in Americans who died in Vietnam have been killed in Ukraine. And needless to say, a tremendous amount more casualties, aside from the people who were killed in action. Now, the Ukrainians are not admitting how many Ukrainians have died and that troops have died in this particular context, but it is not as high as the Russians. Russians clearly lost more. It may be 2 to 1, but the Ukrainians just don't like talking about it, and they don't. So there's that. That's another thing that's occurred. Let's see.
Well, time to check on the final status of the aubergine.
There we go.
Perfect. Perfectly cooked.
Nice.
I have to admit, it's looking promising.
And you'll put those in later, so we'll get mushy, right?
Yeah, well, they already are mushy, so we're all finished with this.
Okay.
So these are, you don't want to cook them down too much.
Yeah, yeah.
So just to be cooked, and then we'll add
Nice. Yum, yum.
I just need to add some herbs, and then when it cools down, add a little more olive oil. And then you just eat this with the side dish with bread and whatnot.
Yum. Yum, yum, yum.
One down, two more to go.
On
Started
the
on the
JD Vance
tomato sauce.
circuit, it appears as if that, from a media point of view, they've collected all this stuff that Vance uh, criticized Trump for being, stupid as a failure, or blah, blah, blah. And they're going to use all that
Oh,
against.
apparently there's what, like 180 hours of him on extreme right wing podcast interview,
Yeah, yeah.
putting
There's,
interview by
yeah,
people.
he wasn't shy.
Mm.
JD Vance wasn't shy. He's just not very smart. When you hear him talk on the Senate floor, dude doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, his logical inconsistencies. He just says stupid stuff sometimes. He's really adult at times.
But I was under the impression he was done educated more than the eighth grade education.
Well, the current conspiracy theory is that the fact that Peter Thiel and all those other right wingers got Trump to accept JD Vance. The conspiracy theory is that if they win, they'll figure out some way to buy off the cabinet, take Trump out by the 25th Amendment, and then have JD Vance be the president. So anyway, that's needless to say, a conspiracy theory, but a fascinating one. I think we've covered enough things other than, apparently the Democrats are in league with the devil and, that kind of stuff. And Mother Nature has attacked the southeast of the United States. The J.D. Vance connection to the right wing folks. There's something called the New Apostolic Reformation. There's a whole Reformation thing that is in right wing theocratic Christianity, and needless to say, some of them consider Kamala Harris Jezebel. So you can see how the framing is going for the coming election, and that's happening there. We're getting to that moment again. Twilight Zone is tonight. We have another
Oh,
new episode. We can talk a little bit about that. Joe,
I was
something?
just wondering if that new apostolic thing was related to the trad wife
Well,
thing I
they
keep seeing on certain websites I go to.
well, I think Treadwife covers a whole bunch of kind of things. In fact, the expression itself, I think, is a kind of approach to younger, more Gen X, millennial um, Christians, but that's just a thing. I think it's more meme than anything else, but it certainly is catchable. It's viral in that sense. So that's going on. John, are you there? And would you like to talk about Twilight Zone tonight?
I am here
Yeah.
tonight on the
Welcome.
Twilight Zone. Wally Cox pays a visit to the Big TZ, and he's I don't want to cast aspersions, but he seems to be the prototypical nerd in this episode.
Indeed.
And, and he's
Is
having
he
a
having
little,
trouble looking the computer in the eye?
yes, he's having a little trouble with the ladies. So naturally, Naturally gets help from a computer.
The earliest computer, whatever dating thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. IQ Cupid or whatever the hell it's called. Yeah. This was the first Bumble or Ashley Madison. I don't know. Yeah, so join us for that. Also making an appearance in tonight's episode is Sue Randall and Ralph Tager.
All right.
There you go.
Later tonight, funny hour, or the
Actually, that's been canceled. A little programming note. We don't have anything after Twilight Zone, so it's just open discussion. I was going to do Talking Turkey with me, but I'm way too tired and not prepared the slides, which is essential.
there'll be plenty
So
of time to talk to since you are in Turkey.
we'll be here for a few months.
This will
So if anybody has some suggestions, step right up.
We've had some discussions about programming, and we're going to be either showing odd or interesting programs, perhaps television or video or films. So that's going to come up. We're going to do that. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock is.
Oh, before you finish, Ann, I'm going off mic here because I need to do some serious chopping, and this is going to make a lot of noise.
All righty.
Leave her business.
Chop, chop, Joe.
Chop, chop, Joe. 3 o'clock tomorrow is Weekly Marks, and we're going to be showing the seventh lecture of Andy Higginbottom on Marx's Capital, Volume 2. And yes, I know it won't seem horribly exciting, but actually, theoretically speaking, it's very important. And since this month is the release of the latest or the newest translation of Marx's Capital 1, a new one done by Princeton University Press, it's a major project, and it'll be useful for us to discuss that at some bright and shining moment. I haven't yet gotten my copy, and but I think we'll try and organize something around that as well. We've been attending the Class Unity stuff, the breakaway group from DSA, and they've been doing a thing on the 2008 financial crisis, and we've been doing in Distant Dat this past week. We're up to chapter 15, and well, I'm learning something. I don't know if anyone else is learning, and so we're going to continue to do that. We're almost to the end, and we'll be finishing it this coming week. So that's the current thing coming up. I have a couple of other notes on stuff that I want to do, but I'm not quite sure that we're there yet, and perhaps some special guests. We're hoping that at some moment we will get some of our prodigal sort of folks like Adnan Hussein might give us a visit at some particular moment, but I think he's trying to readjust to being back in the United or back in Canada. So that's things in the future. So we try and organize ourselves this way. It's hopefully a little less ad hoc than you might think.
Well, speak for yourself, man. I'm always ad hoc, and especially nowadays. But I just want to mention with people, I picked up a bicycle, so I will be out and about in Anatolia. There's loads of ancient shit around. There's lots of things to explore, and I'll pop on the Zoom. I'll send a message to the Discord for anyone to pop on Zoom if they're up and about. But we are a 7-hour difference from the East Coast, so that might be a little problematic. But I will be avoiding the midday hours here, so very early morning and very late at night, because we're still dealing with quite high temperatures.
Yes. Joe had a really nice image of Trajan's Gate. It was really
Hadrian.
Oh, Hadrian.
Hadrian.
Hadrian.
Hadrian.
Yes, Hadrian's Gate. Sorry.
Was, that was the entrance to the old city of Antalya.
All good things. Hopefully we can get other folks to contribute their area stuff, their surroundings. Not that mine's that interesting. Let's see, where are we now? Well, we're getting close to the end of our little event here. Joe, where are you?
Keep drawing it out. I've still got some things. Oh, I still have one more dish to
Oh my
make, or I
gosh.
can postpone it.
Mangoes.
But,
Mangoes.
if people
No,
want to
no,
shoot
no.
the breeze, or I
No,
can
no,
do
no,
that
no.
another time.
Oh, I can keep yammering on forever.
Well,
I mean,
have at it.
JD Vance, in that all of these DMs that got leaked, he comments somewhere in those, and it's unclear how how Ken Klipperstein sort of got a hold of these things, but needless to say, Vance refers to Trump as the emperor, and and one of them that he turned down a job offer from the emperor. So that was kind of amusing. I thought that was quite fascinating. It's hard to keep up. But we only have 40 damn days left, and I'm hoping that there won't be any kind of scandals or whatever, October surprise that will collapse the Democratic campaign. It seems to me that it is still momentum wise, still going into. Oh, Nancy has a comment. Nancy.
Yeah, I don't think you mentioned what happened when Benjamin Netanyahu got up to give his speech at the UN.
It was no. All I noticed in the video was that a lot of people weren't there.
It was a major walkout.
There was walkout. That's what it was. Okay.
About I don't know. I think it was hundreds of people got up and walked out.
No, that's It certainly looked empty. The one image I saw.
Was he whipping out his mask?
Sort of a balcony where there were people, but it turned out the people he brought with him.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but from a delegate point of view, it was pretty empty on the floor. I saw that.
Yes. So, but he brought people to applaud him. Otherwise, it would have been, I guess, quite an embarrassment. It was an embarrassment anyway.
Oh, yeah, indeed. I mean, essentially, he was trying to front his Hezbollah campaign. It's just awful.
Yeah, they said he wanted to have the leader in Beirut get killed simultaneous with his speech. But
yes. Well, it was a huge explosion. I mean, they blew up 2 whole buildings, and it was just I've seen the video. It's just immense destruction.
Well,
the precedent they're setting. Oh, sorry, finance.
Pardon?
I was just going to comment that the precedent they're setting for future engagements on all sides is quite shocking.
Mm.
I think if people get a chance, it's worth looking at the video of the walkout. And anyway, that's all I wanted to comment.
Cool.
Thank you.
We have talked about other series and other things that we might do. Star Trek is not coming back for a couple of weeks, just to let you know, but there have been a series of things that will be in its place on Sunday. So there's that. And the Class Unity folks will be over at some moment, so I'm going to have to figure out something to do. No, that's not true. I have plenty to do. we'll see something. You'll see me yammer about theory of rent. Let's put it that way. And probably at some moment there'll be rent. I will I will start teaching math. I have a series that I might do on open source intelligence gathering. I may actually do a thing to show some examples of how to use the Bellingcat tools to do open source intelligence gathering. So that may be something I'll do in the future. So, just to provide little lesson plans so that people can use various open source tools to evaluate or assess electronic intelligence. So.
Bellingcat has a Twitch channel that occasionally stream.
Oh, yeah, they'll probably just use that
Yeah.
their training stuff. So I have been thinking about doing that because I think that our little pod here should have more skills of that type as well. I think as the weather gets cooler, we may get hammer and sickle may return. And I think we'll see some more a little of that, and we invite other people to show us their hammer and sickle stuff.
The esma down, which is essentially a tomato salsa with olive oil, fresh peppers, garlic, and this chili paste, which I'll now put up a little bit of the mango. Dying here. Tasty.
It is one of my favorite fruits. Even the preserved mango, I really like. It is, I sort of inhale that stuff. It's unfortunately overpriced, but what it is when you get it in the dried form. But I'm quite addicted to it.
I'm a big fan of the dried version of most fruits.
Yes, yes. I would say that I'm disappointed in my local Trader Joe's for not having a wider range of dried fruit. They used to have a lot more. Let's just put it that way. There were several different versions of apricots and nectarines, etc., and they do not seem to be stocking them as much. Probably because of price or something, but at least in America, that's kind of what we're stuck with.
I believe Trader Joe's had dried California apricots.
Yes.
Not the Turkish style, but the ones that have been
the slab,
cut in
the
half.
slab kind with the sulfur.
I used to get the Turkish ones that weren't sulfured from Trader Joe's.
They taste okay.
They taste
I
good,
find
yeah.
like temperature, I prefer the heat over the cold. And with my my dried apricots, I prefer the super tart and sourish to the sweet, the Turkish ones. So the Turkish ones they take out the seed and leave it whole. So then when it dries, the sugars are a lot different.
Yep.
Whereas the ones that are splayed in half, I think they're called kaisai or something.
I don't know.
Let's see. I bought some at the Marcus Fair today.
There we go.
Finally.
Yeah. Yum.
So they put sulfur, unfortunately, in these. I don't know why they do that, because the sun is so strong that it preserves them before they can go off. But I find the sulfur makes it the tartness factor muted. Whereas if you get the unsulfured ones, which you can find at Trader Joe's, that's no advertisement there, but I know they
Oh.
used to carry them anyways.
My local one is not stocking those. So anyway, that without giving them too much business,
Hmm.
I
Well,
prefer to give them business than a whole paycheck, you know.
Oh God. Fortunately, Joe, they don't contaminate their beef with sulfur. No need for preservatives there.
Yeah, I've got serving dishes here somewhere.
I think if you ask your Trader Joe's if you can get some of those apricots or whatever fruits, they would probably bring them in for you.
Yeah, I guess so. I just don't go there that often, but also because it's pretty pricey regardless.
Well, my local Trader Joe's doesn't even exist. So,
Well, I don't even have one in my town. I have to go several towns over to get the closest one. So it's unfortunate. They're not everywhere.
I'm closer to Trader Joe's, Costco, and BJ's here.
Oh my God. I didn't think you had BJ's down that far south.
Yeah, I was surprised, but we do.
Interesting. Interesting.
So if anybody hasn't tried mango with chili and salt and lemon juice, highly recommend it.
Yum.
Oh, that was another thing I got at Trader Joe's. They had mango strips that were dried, uh, but coated with uh spicy pepper or
Okay, we're
hey,
John, we're getting
cayenne
somewhere now.
cayenne pepper and salt, I think, and lemon juice. Yeah, it was really
Yes,
good.
yes, yes. Now,
Hey,
one of the techniques you can use to combat this oppressive heat is to eat chili pepper, which will cause you to sweat, raising your body temperature. You'll be sweating and naturally cool off.
indeed.
The way that I cool off is to turn on the air conditioning.
Ah.
And not go out in the heat. Uh,
Almost.
Oh, Anna was sharing that the Swiss are angry at Trump's newest scam with those $100,000 Trump watches that have a replica of his signature.
oh, so cheesy. Jeez.
God.
Dude.
He can't even be bothered to sign these things. I mean, how many $100,000 watches do you think he's going to sell?
A couple people who are just obviously, supporters who have money to kill, whatever, who've
Jeez.
exploited enough other people to spend money.
Amazing.
Oh, 100, it's the series, there's only 147 $100,000 watches, Trump watches.
How many?
147.
And he can't be bothered to actually sign those. 147.
It
That's
just it just
too much
amazes
effort.
just amazes me.
but technically speaking, how would you sign a watch and have the signature stay on there?
You
Well,
could
it'd be
you could sign the
engraven.
back. The
could
back of the
engrave,
band.
yeah, or you can engrave the back.
He should give them a genuine certificate with his own genuine signature in blood.
I don't think he has any blood, but anyway.
From his ear.
Yeah, there we go. Well, there's another thing to sell, an impression of the ear that got shot. You could make a mold and do replica Trump ears.
Hmm.
Apparently, Melania got $250,000 to show up for some event or to host some event.
Isn't love beautiful?
Well, what I heard about that was that she gave a speech to the log cabin Republicans, but the log cabin Republicans said they did not provide the $250,000. So there's speculation that there was some money laundering that somehow
yes, hanky
had
panky.
this, yeah, money arrived.
Shenanigans. Shenanigans. More shenanigans. It's just so awful. I just coarse, vulgar. I don't know. It's just something about that we will be just glad when we don't have this around anymore. This stuff happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Joe's laying the stuff out on the plate there. That's nice. Oh, yummy. Tasty. Tasty.
Not quite. I don't think I got it quite chopped fine enough, but more dish here somewhere.
I'm hungry again. Darn it.
This is more or less ratatouille. Minus the herbs at the end.
Yum.
So esma, which is a Turkish tomato salad. I forgot the name of that one. Something like fainting imam. Imam fainted because of the excessive use of olive oil and its cost, potentially. And chili fresh mango.
Yum. Yum, yum, yum. Well, I think we've promoted everything that's coming up this week. So we will have a the funny hour, the happy hour, whatever, funny hour will be coming at some particular moment. There'll be announcements for that. This is TAC, the Autonomous Collective, and we're at theautonomouscollective.net. And so stop on by. We're on Discord. Other things are going to be created that we're going to fuss with fairly soon. At some moment, we'll talk about some of those matters in the coming weeks. I think we're ready to stop,
Yes,
Joe.
I believe we are. Thanks, everyone. Unless anyone has any other questions,
We'll try and do better next week.
comments.
We'll definitely try and do better next week.
Wow.